on, everyone? Fernando Silva here with another video, and if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen me tease my latest iPad Pro and iPhone home screen setups. And you guys have seen that I have different icons depending on which device it is, and I want to show you exactly what's on my iPad Pro in early 2020, from the icon pack to the widgets to all the different applications that I use on a daily basis. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's start with the actual home screen of the iPad Pro. As you guys can see, it looks a little bit different than what I'm used to. I normally have the entire home screen totally empty with no applications and just my bottom row of dock applications. But for this one, I wanted to change it up a little bit, so I have this vertical line of applications going down. And I'm going to talk to you guys about how exactly I did that in a second. But first I want to talk about the actual icons. So with the introduction of iOS and iPadOS 14, and then even later with 14.2, we were allowed to change up our app icons via shortcuts. Now the first implementation of the custom icons with the shortcut was a little bit hit or miss, because when you were to open this new icon, right, or use a custom icon to open an application, it would first take you to the Shortcuts app, and then from there it would automate you to the actual application that you wanted. Thank goodness Apple changed that up, and now instead of getting that whole transition, all we get is a little drop down saying that, hey, you used a shortcut to open this application, so at least we don't have to go through the Shortcuts app to then get to the app that we want. So that is the main reason why I decided to actually finally dive into this and do it, because before, when I had that first situation, I was very turned off by it, and I thought to myself, hey, there's no real point in going through that entire process just to make my apps look a little bit cooler. But now that it works well and works a little bit more fluidly than it did before, I think this is a great thing to do, especially if you want to add a little bit of life or a little bit of personality to each of your devices that you can finally do on an iPhone or an iPad Pro, which you couldn't do before. So for this particular icon pack, I'm going to link it below. I do believe it's $5, and you get a bunch of different icon sets for that price point. So I think you get a black icon set, a lighter gray icon set, a light white icon set, which is what I'm using, a pure white icon set, and then I think you get a couple of colors in between where it's like orange and blue, more pastel-y. And this is all included with that one, so it's not like you have to buy a different icon pack. So I think it's a great deal. Definitely support down below, and it's going to be that first link, guys. But if I continue, I do want to show you real quick how to actually change up your application. So I'm going to walk you how to actually change one application, and then as you do that, then you can do it every single one of your applications. And now again, you only really need to do this one time, and once it's set up that one time, then you're good to go. It is a little bit tedious to get done, especially if you have a lot of applications that you want to change up, but without further ado, let me show you how to do it. So basically all you have to do is make sure you have the Shortcuts app, right? And all you have to do is go into the Shortcuts, create a new shortcut, go to the scripting module, then click on the Open Apps section, and once you go from there, then all you have to do is actually decide which app you want it to open, and then you want to add that to the home screen. And once you do that, it'll opt you into saying, name this new shortcut, and then also add a custom image to that shortcut. So that is where these custom icons come into play, and it's literally just an image from your photo gallery or from your files, depending on where you download that icon pack to, and then you just one by one start to change up your applications. Like I said, it's a little bit tedious. That's why I like to do it purely for my main screen, for my main applications, and then I do wish that the iPad Pro, or any iPad for that matter, had the app library that came over to iOS 14. Having that app library would have been wonderful. But for now, I just have my other applications in separate folders, in categories, and that's how I set up my entire iPad Pro. And now I want to talk to you guys about how I actually got the vertical dock. So the vertical dock was a little bit more tricky, and I'm going to link below exactly how I did it. There's a great article that I found that really helps you do it and helps automate this process, because it was a little bit tough. But it's definitely worth it, especially if you click the link below. So try that link, and then it'll walk you through everything, because right now it would be a little bit too much. It would take a whole other video to explain how to do that. But if you follow that step-by-step direction, it basically just creates dummy icons for you. So if I show you on the screen, you can see that those blank icons are clickable. Now they don't take you anywhere, they don't move you to another application, but they're put there as placeholders because, as everybody knows, the grid on an iOS or iPadOS device starts on the top left and ends on the bottom right, no matter what you want to do. So in order to kind of trick the system into thinking there's applications, you have to have dummy applications there that match the color of your wallpaper in order to look nice and seamless. But that is how I set up my entire home screen. And then the very final thing I did to the home screen was actually get rid of those suggested applications on the bottom right of the dock. The only reason I really did that is because I didn't like how it would bring up the original app icon for the suggested apps, because it doesn't recognize the custom ones. So in order to have like a clean finished dock, I got rid of the suggested ones through the settings menu, and that got rid of everything. And that's how I have my home screen set up. And I really like how it came out, and I plan on kind of changing it up as days and seasons go on. And I know they're also updating the icon pack continuously. If anybody needs a certain icon that wasn't part of the pack, all you have to do is email them, and then within 24 hours, they'll hook you up with a custom icon for that application. But now that that's the home screen and that's how it's set up, the other part of the home screen has to be my widget section. So widgets, I love them for at-a-glance information and for utility, right? It's very rare that I have something playful on there. I don't really like to doodle on there. Again, it's mostly for utility. So the first application or the first widget that I have is Weatherline. And you guys have seen me mention this widget in the past in this application. As of right now, the application is built just for the iPhone. So if you want to use the application on the iPad, then you have to 2x it. But again, I don't use the application at all. I use it for the widget, and the widget is beautiful. It fits perfectly within iPad OS. It changes dynamically in real time, so that's a beautiful thing to see. And I always like to check the weather in the morning to see what I have to wear when I take out my dog in the morning when it's really early. And even in Florida, it gets kind of chilly. And then below the weather, I have two small widgets. One is the classic battery widget, which is part of the native iOS and iPad OS system. I always like to have that on there. And then next to that is actually the Spark Mail widget. So I use Spark as my mail client, and they have great widgets of all different sizes. I just use a little one because I like to see how many messages I have. And it usually shows me how many important messages I have with that big number on top. And as long as that reads 0, I'm happy. And right now I don't think it does, but we're gonna fix that soon. And as I continue on with my widgets, the next one is the Authenticator app. So if you guys are using 2FA or multi-factor authentication for any of your logins, so for me, I use it for LinkedIn, I use it for a couple of my banks, I also use it for my Google account so my YouTube doesn't get hacked. So these are all things that the Authenticator app kind of shows you at a glance. So whenever I'm signing into LinkedIn, especially from a different device, it asks me for that 2FA, and all I have to do is check my widget and it gives me a live reading of a 2FA Authenticator code right then and there. So that's a great thing to have. And again, I'm gonna link all these applications down below if anybody wants to try these out. And most of them are free or have a free version of them, because I like to stay with the free version of most of the applications unless it's a must-have. And then the last section of widgets is all actually under one application. This is all under the application usage. And usage allows you to basically see, how much storage you have, how much memory is being used up, how much data is going in and out of the iPad, things along those lines, just to give you real-time analysis of kind of the data going in and out of your iPad and your iPhone. And then lastly, I want to talk about basically the applications that are on my homepage. So if we go from top to bottom, right, we're going to go with the applications that are on the actual home screen itself. So those are all the classic YouTube apps. So YouTube, YouTube TV, and YouTube Studio. Those apps I live with all the time, whether it's content consumption, doing research for something else, checking all the comments that you guys put in, seeing the subscriber count, which we're almost at 20K. And maybe when this video comes out, we'll be around there, which is freaking absolutely amazing. Thank you guys. And then after those, I have an app called Taskade. And Taskade, I've done a video on it in the past. It's a great task management tool. It's a to-do list, it's a calendar, it's a collaboration tool, it's a video chat tool. And I'm gonna have another video comparing that to Microsoft Teams later on this month, because I do think that Taskade needs to get a little more clout, especially because it's a totally free application that can be used as a personal kind of task management tool, or also a task management tool for larger businesses that need to have project managers and need to get stuff done from a collaboration standpoint. So stay tuned for that video, but that's Taskade application itself. And then underneath that is LumaFusion, and you guys know what LumaFusion is. That's how I edit these videos on the iPad Pro, and it's wonderful. For the price, there's literally nothing better than LumaFusion. And then for the applications in my dock, it's pretty boring for the most part. From left to right, I have the calendar app, which is a calendar app. I use Safari as my main web browser because it's a desktop class web browser and I'm able to do 99% of the things I need to do on Safari. Then I have the Files app to kind of manage all my files. I use the Google Home app to control all the smart lights in my house. I use a lot of Google Home products. That's probably the most Google integrated I am when it comes to home technology. Then I have the Photos application. Next to that is Twitter. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter yet, definitely do down below because I'm very active on it and I love Twitter. That's definitely my social media platform of choice and pretty much the only one that I use. Then I have Spark Mail, like I said. Next to that is Spotify. I've been a Spotify user for 5-6 years now, and that's the one thing that I have not transferred over in terms of going from Spotify to Apple Music, and I don't think I ever will. Spotify just knows me too well at this point, and it's hard to kind of forget all that data and forget all those years of them knowing what kind of music I listen to. So for now, Spotify is my music app of choice, and the UI is amazing, the custom playlists are amazing, and they pay for my Hulu, so shout out to them. And then lastly, we have the App Store and then the actual settings application. So that's pretty much what's on my home screen. And the main reason I keep it kind of clean and balanced like that is because my iPad Pro is a work machine, right? It's very rare that I kind of just sit down and lay back and watch something for fun. I don't really watch too much Netflix. I don't consume too much content unless it has to do with something that I need to do for work or for the YouTube channel. The only game that I do play pretty much on a daily basis is Marvel Strike Force. Or I haven't met a person in real life that plays that game. So if you guys actually play that game, definitely check out my team because my team is solid. I've been playing that game every single day for like a year. But that's pretty much what's on my iPad for early 2021. My iPad Pro is a productivity machine. That's what I use it for mainly. The only time I use it for content consumption for fun is when I'm maybe out and about, if we're at a hotel, and that's the computer that I bring with me. But other than that, my iPad is my work machine, my productivity machine, and I like to keep it nice and simple so there aren't many distractions. So if I put up a podcast, Spotify is there while I'm doing other work, maybe scripting, taking notes, and just working on what I have to do. And that's why I love the iPad, and that's why I still think the iPad, even with the M1 chips, are just a more productive tool to have because it's very hard to get distracted if you go with the mindset of, hey, I'm gonna get some work done on my iPad, because you can't do too much at the same time. So, you know, it's a blessing and a curse with the iPad Pro. But that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like I said, try to support. The icon pack is below. That'd be amazing. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Comment below what you guys wanna see next. I'm gonna do a what's on my iPhone video next up so you guys can see exactly how I use my iPhone and how it differentiates from my iPad Pro. But until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.